Hi everybody, Kent from Oz here, and I have another video for you. Now, today I'm going to just go through my Filofax and give you a bit of an update on how I've been going. And since my last video, it's been only about 2 weeks, but quite a lot of changes have happened. And I want to also thank everybody for all their comments and wonderful responses, and keep subscribing to my channel, and also send me any requests for videos on Filofax tips. Okay, so here I have my Filofax. Well, actually, I call it a Filofax because I have used one for so many years, but in fact this, my most recent one, is a Debden Day Planner, Collins Debden Day Planner. So it's a black leather one, it's zippered down the bottom, and I have exchanged the zipper for a larger tag, which helps me to open it up quite easily. And for a Filofax that is about 5 years old, it is quite in good condition. So anyway, let's open it and have a look, and we'll see what has changed and what has remained the same. So you can see here the Collins Debden has 7 rings as opposed to the 6 rings for the Filofax, with the extra ring in the center there. A lot of Filofax files and printed pages I can use, and I just need to add an extra hole. Some of them come already with the extra hole in it. So in the front here, I've just converted a little bit more onto the post-it notes, and I've got a whole variety, and I've got the flags here which I use quite a lot, and you'll see those inside in a few minutes. Now these are the transparent reusable flags that you can use again and peel off, and I'll show you a little thing that I use with those. I've got some long post-it notes there for some urgent reminders. I have the standard square ones that go in, and I usually just take a section from the post-it note pad and I just put it in there. I don't want to bulk up too much. And I've also got the small rectangular ones. I tend to use orange or yellow or green or blue, and in this case I've got these ones here. Now these are a totally adhesive backing, so it's not just one strip. The entire back of the post-it note is adhesive, so that I can make sure it stays stuck quite well. So that one's a special one. I think that was from Post-it. Up the top here I've just got a few cards. I don't have any Visa or credit cards or any important cards. I've got just a bus pass and a coffee coupon and a couple of other membership cards that if I need to use those during the day, then they're there. And just above there I've got a label maker with the my name and also my mobile number, no other details. I try not to have anything too personal in this, and just in case I lose it, and I just don't want anyone to use that information. I've got my standard paper clips which I use constantly, and they change, and again the brighter colors just seem to grab my attention. Now I have mentioned these stickers before, and they're still here. Being an educator, I've been using stickers, and also some of the small round smiley face ones. Now I don't use lots of different types, usually just these small square ones or the round ones. So there's no Hello Kitty ones, although there's nothing wrong with those, of course. And they're the ones I use, and if there's a lesson that I've had and the students are working very well, I'll reward them with those stickers. And I also use them in the Filofax as well. And then just underneath there, some important, that's a bill that I need to pay, so I've got a paper clip there, and I've splashed out with a bit of colour instead of a black bulldog clip there. I've got a nice, I think that's an aqua blue. I have my front page. I try to keep it this black plastic one, and again with my name on it, and I have mentioned in previous videos where I have labelled both this and also on the day planner itself. If the insides are removed, at least that one has a chance of staying there, and if I have lost this, then of course I have a good chance of getting it back. People can contact me, they know my name. We have the ring binders, and I want to thank all the people who mentioned it in my videos when I was opening them up at the rings, and to actually open them up correctly from the sides there. So a thumbs up for you for helping me with that. And of course, the longer the Filofax has, the life of it is important. I don't want the rings to be misaligned, and a good day planner needs to be functioning well with good sets of rings there. You'll notice inside I have a storage for my red pen, which I use for work, and I'll go through that in a few minutes. And of course then we have our front page, a very hardy plastic, very thick, and that just protects all the paper and all the things in the front, and so on. Here I have, and you'll notice there's quite a few of my things from my tips that I do use. Yes, I do use them. So here we have a CD sleeve, which I've just shown that can be used. These are for petrol coupons, and some more dot stickers here. Now, I don't technically have what I call a dashboard, but this is where I put those tags. And what I've done is, these ones are very important for me because I can reuse them, but they really grab my eye, and that's the reason I use these. So they're bright fluoro colors, ones work best, and commands, because if I see it and then I see the words, then my attention is drawn to what I need to do. So I've got words: do, exclamation, do, look, do today, important, urgent, and sometimes I might write a new one if I need to. Now I use a Sharpie to just write on those, because this is a bit of a plastic marker, and it's a bit hard to write with a normal pen, so Sharpies work really well. I've got the normal dividers, and again labeled in black using the label maker. Now in the front I've got a section for goals, which I have written out for this year, and that's a work in progress, and I continually look at that throughout the week and out throughout the year. Now that's the first half of the year, so it's filled out, and we're in March at the moment, so I haven't got too far into planning my goals, but I do have some yearly goals which I have written out here, and I won't show those too quickly. So after that, just some personal goals and other notes, and of course some extra paper there. I do have trying to get fit and watching what I eat, so I've got a meal planner here, and that's on double-sided, so if you can see on the inside I've got last week's all filled out, and it's also tagged there, meal plan, just to keep me accountable and trying to get a bit fitter. Diagrams again, and of course my quotes that I hand out, and I do read those. In fact, I read them today while I was waiting for an appointment, and they're very important, and as I said, on post-it notes so I can hand them out and replace them quite easily. I have a section for family, some goals and some ideas, and also for not just personal things, but also just things that we want to do together. So all my children and family things, and I always update those. And then down here I've got just a page which I've just started to do with presents, and that's to do with my immediate family. And of course this is me, my birthday's at the end of the year, so I've got quite a lot of things that I know I want to buy for presents for myself, and as the birthdays come up that gives me a bit of an idea. So that's for my family there, and just different things, medical goals, finances. I do use this not terribly often, but if there's some significant purchases or I'm spending quite a bit of money, I just want to keep track of that, so I write these down here, and using a grid, and this page is just off a Word document, and I find that quite useful, although I do use my computer and an Excel spreadsheet to keep all of the details there, but this is just a bit of a general one. I'll jot it down so I can remember it, and then I cross-check with my computer for that. So I've got some financial goals, and I sort of talk, think things through, and just making plans, of course. I've also got home goals, so I've got a section for home, and here we have just again, things for renovation. I've got some important phone numbers there. I went around and I measured various cupboards and shelves and closets, and just put some measurements on so that I can actually then take this. Say we want to find a storage basket that we need. I've now got the measurements here for significant storage areas, and that way I know at hand whether the container will fit or not. So that's a really good idea, and I've drawn these out. They're not to scale, but the measurements are. And a page of dots which you can download from the Filofax free downloads is excellent for this. It helps you to draw diagrams a bit better. Bit of a man-blokey thing, I guess, but I need to know all the measurements instead of going all the way home measuring or giving up a bargain, not sure whether it will fit or not. So I find that very handy, and I've used that many times. Next thing, I've got a section for timetables, which I've covered earlier in my previous video. Just timetables, phone numbers, addresses, a yearly timetable for events at the place that I work, another timetable for various things, again my kids' school timetables so I know where they are and what they're doing, and another timetable for another area that I use at work, and just to keep an eye on what's happening there. I also have a separate one. That was a timetable one. Now I also have a separate section called work, and again this is for meetings, and I've got this sheet that I made to do with meetings, and I just it's a double-sided one again, so I'll just open it up to show you. So I've got them at hand, and then once I fill in all four sides, so these ones are meetings, like so, and then these ones are filled in, and then what I'll do is double that over and reuse it again for the next two meetings, and then I will file that, and it's a great reference, but I'll leave that in at the moment. And I've also used a little tag there. Occasionally need to use tags with things that I need to know where they are very quickly. I don't use too many because otherwise I'll get a bit confused with that. So I know that that yellow tag is work meetings, and it gets to me straight away. Then that's the same as I have here for the light blue one, which is the meal planner earlier on, and I know what that looks like as well. So I have my black divider labels, and that helps me, and I know where everything is there, but I use these temporary removable and reusable tags very sparingly. I've also got just other notes from other meetings, and if I've got some professional development, I take notes there, and of course I've got a couple of extra sheets for meetings, and more ideas, and more notes, and so on. I do have a section on passwords, and I'm very careful to not put a lot of detail in, and I have a code for my passwords, so I'm actually going to not really let you see that too much, but I'm putting in just very limited letters or numbers depending on what they are, so that I know what they are, but someone reading would have a very difficult time in trying to work these out. So I don't recommend you do put passwords in your planner. Be very careful, because once you've lost that, you don't quite know who could read your information. So in this case, I'm happy to do just a couple of ones that I do need to remember, and then eventually, once I'm used to them, I'll take these out or erase those. I also run my own business, so we've got a business section here. Now, I don't use this Filofax just for my business. I have a separate one for that because there's quite a lot of information that I need. But when I'm at work, or if I'm at home, I'm just jotting down some quick ideas, again using post-it notes, meetings that I've had as well. And in this case, I have the meetings schedule that I've folded out, just because I usually have 2 or 3 meetings at a time, and it just saves time as well. So the meeting section, also goals, and just more notes. I take copious notes. I draw lots of diagrams. I draw lots of lists, ideas. If you're like me, I think as I write, and that's the reason why I've got so many different notes. But I love the fact that I have them all in the one place. At the right time, I can just go anywhere in this planner, and it's there for me to use. So one of the main reasons I use a Filofax is the convenience of having all of it in one place. Would you agree? I think so. So lots of notes for business ideas, and I just jot things down when I think of things. I've just got a few of those printed inserts of public holidays and different school terms, and a couple of printed pages of reminders, but I don't use them. For my YouTube channel, I've got ideas that I've been running through, and again, thank you so much for the messages and the suggestions and the things that you'd like to see, and just keep sending me those messages and I'll try and put them down on my channel. So I've got a whole range of things there, and usually if I have an idea and I'm not near the Filofax, I do it on a post-it note, stick it in somewhere where I can see it, transfer it in, or just in this case I've just left this here. Next section is a to-do section, and I've made up another form for myself. In this case I'll just show you the other side first. I've got personal, home, financial, and information, and some notes. And so I fill out those because I don't want a long list, but I do know that I might have 6 to 8 things that need to happen straight away. As soon as they're done, like this one is, you cross it out. And tick as well, I've got the little tick boxes there, and of course also post-it notes, because I came up with this idea and the Filofax wasn't with me, but I transferred it in. So I've got to-do list, my calendar. It's a very important part of my Filofax, and I've just got, in one of my videos I've just shown how to make a simple divider, and I've got the printed 3-year calendars, 2013 to 2015, which I will keep, and I will use those for the next couple of years. Now I printed this one out myself, day per view, and for January I've tried all the different types, the vertical ones, the ones with boxes, 1 page, 2 page, the year in 1 page. This works for me. The horizontal, month on 2 pages. Dates down the left hand side. I've got the weekends in grey. I've got a section here for notes at the very bottom, but I've got here at a glance I can see everything that I need. Now this is January, and I've also color coded. Now the blue is in, because I live in Australia, we have a long Christmas vacation, 6 weeks, so all of the blue is for school holidays. And of course, being an educator, then I have a lighter blue one there, which is when I go back to work and the children are still on holidays. Public holidays, I colour in blue, highlighter, and write things down. And if I just turn to, that was January, February, a little bit, still not a lot happening. March, which is the month I'm filming this, excuse me, you can see I've got a lot of things there. Here I've got the birthdays and the names and also the ages of the person. I used to put the year they were born, but then I'd have to actually do the math every time to work out their birth date. So now I just transfer it and I add 1 year each year, and so I know that this is my daughter's birthday and she's 12, and just makes it easier for me. And of course the little dot sticker just highlights, and at a glance I can see that. What do I write in here? Public holidays, important meetings, maybe medical appointments, occasionally a couple of things I just really need to know. For instance, in Australia the movie Les Miserables Blu-ray is released on this day, on the 22nd of March. Yay, great movie. And of course just a whole range of different things as well, some notes and so on. So my planner in my calendar is one of the first places I go to. Here's an example of one of those removable stickers, and this says send card to this person for their birthday. And when I've done that, I'll remove it and then I'll place it on the next side, which I've already done here. Send card, send card. That way at least I've got that to remind me each time. So that's my calendar. I won't go through everything in that, but I have also got a list of close relatives and friends and their birth dates, just so that I know. And again, that'll go into the next year's day planner. A couple more public holidays and printed pages. Then I've gone to the actual printed pages, a week in 2-page view. And I'll just go a little bit later on into the year, because the first couple of weeks in January, being vacation time, there's not a lot happening. So here's March, and this was a couple of weeks ago. As you can see, my day is planned fairly full all the way through. So on this side I've got the times, and I do write the times in plus the appointment. Anything that is in red is for work, anything that is in black is for me, and anything that is in black and has brackets around them, or maybe a highlight, is a family thing that I need to remember. So let's go turn the page, and you can see here I've got one of those remember, very important. Today, make sure that I do that today. I've got a significant, there was a wedding here, so there's a dot there. And the red, of course, everything that I do accomplish in these to-do sections, I do put a very neat line through them so I can still read them. Now, just while I'm on this page, I'd just like to talk about the pens that I use, and again, that's also been in a previous video, but I've been using the Pilot Friction erasable pens. Now, I've tried many pens. These are the best that work for me, and I use one, that black one, to write with. And a little tip, buy 2 or 3, because if it runs out, you really don't want to use another pen when you can use the same one you're used to. It's sort of like working with me to get me organized. So I have a good relationship with my pens. I keep that in the side there. The red one I use for work comes out, and I find that this just is an easy access, comes in and stays in there, and at a glance I can see that I've got it. Here's one that I haven't quite shown you before, but it's the erasable highlighter, and as I said in previous videos, the blue highlighter works for me. So let me give you a little demonstration. It works just the same as a highlighter, quite good, but you can erase it. And I find this the best thing. I make mistakes all the time, and as you can see, it's disappeared. So I've actually also moved my pen loop up to the top here for the eraser, the highlighter with the eraser, and that sits just up the top there, out of the way, and I use the combination of these 3 pens. That's all I need. I don't really need anything more, and if I do, occasionally I may use a pencil, then I've got that in my bag or on my desk. So usually I try and streamline the pens because they take up a lot of bulk. So here's my day. Also, I have a work planner which I also place in between, which I've also shown you, and that'll be this week. So you can see I use lots of post-it notes, and I stick them on my ruler. And this is the work timetable which I've printed up. It's double-sided for 2 weeks, and then eventually after this week I will remove that and file that for myself. Now I'm going to show you this, which I just started today. I've been using the small, thin post-it notes to write shopping lists, and as I'm getting older I find I can't read these as easily, because you can see they're very small and thin, and they were working for a while, but I really needed something a bit bigger, and if you're like me, I need lines. Now I found these post-it notes with lines. Now these are the larger ones. I think they're the 4" by 4" ones. And I've just got the packet here which you can see. It's a post-it brand, and what I've been doing is cutting that just down. I take out maybe 15 to 20 of them at a time, and then I just cut them down as best I can down the center, and I placed one on the ruler and just one there at the moment. But these lines are great for a shopping list, and I've got one here that I just started today, and as you can see, if I'm at the supermarket I can then use it, but I find the guidelines really handy for me. And it also just keeps me organized by seeing things very quickly, and the larger writing I can do on these post-it notes that have been cut down are quite good. So this ends up being a 2" by 4" size, so it's quite a good thing, and I'll leave that there because I need to get those at the store before I go to work today. And there's also just the post-it notes which I stick on my ruler, and that's just a normal Today ruler. I think that's a Debden one. And so that's my week. Now of course then I just mark things in blue when I need to. Now here's something I'm going to try out. Now we're getting a new week next week, and usually my week starts fairly blank. I've got a couple of things that I know is coming up, but what are these blue lines? Well, if you're like me, and let's go back just a couple of weeks, I find it a little bit difficult to keep each side together. Now if you can see here, I've got my appointments here and I've got my to-do list down here, and sometimes they merge, and because I've got a lot to write I tend to go over on the other side, and between you and me I would like to see it fairly well separated. Now I don't want to draw big black heavy lines there, so I've decided to trial this for at least a week or two. Because of my erasable highlighter will remove the mark, I've actually just ruled down a highlighted mark. That will help me just to divide this up a bit better. Now I don't quite like the blue line, and the thing is at the end of the week I'll just take my eraser and I'll just do a little bit here, but as you can see it will erase away, and hopefully this blue line will guide my writing just to keep me a little bit neater and to keep everything separated out, because again I just need to make sure I can see everything at a glance. Okay, so appointments this side, to-do list that side. We'll see how you go. I'll do a video on this to update it to let you know how things are going. So that's my week at a glance, 2 pages for 1 week calendar, and I've got all of the rest of the year there. I try to keep everything together. Some people do remove and do 6 months at a time just to remove the bulk. Because of the way I work and with my schedule, I usually do need the whole year just to write it in. Here's a little thing that I do as well. If I see something that I might want to check at the store, I might just print it out, put a bit of sticky tape there, and I've got that there for me to use. And so in a week or two I'll be checking these hole punches out, and I've got all the address and details there, and then once I've done that, that can be easily removed as well. So after my year planner section here, I've got the receipt section, and I did a video on that, and I want to thank everyone for all their comments. And what I've done too is printed this table on a ordinary business envelope, and I've done something a bit different this time. I'm not sure if you can see it. Let me see if I can focus in. Is it going to focus? No. But if you could see this clearly, I've actually labelled an extra bit down the side here, and because this is March and the receipt number, I've put the date, what it's for, the price, and then a little code of what it was, what category for tax, stationery, is it for work, is it for personal, medical. But down the side I pre-printed 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4 all the way down. Because March being the 3rd month, it just gives me a code. On every receipt I write that code on as well. It just helps me locate things a bit easier. That was from a tip from someone from our channel. Thank you very much. And this one is getting full, so there's about 27 receipts in there, so I'll actually leave that out. And then of course I've got another one, and I've just labelled it March 2, and in readiness for April, which is coming up soon, I've got April's all ready to go. And as you can see, I've got this a little bit lined up better. I've worked out how to use my printer properly, and that's ready for my receipts. I find this very handy. Instead of finding receipts months or years later after tax time, it really organizes me, so I can't recommend. It's probably one of my favorite Filofax tips, using these receipt envelopes. At the back of there I've just got some notes on reminders of things to do for tax with using the receipts, and then I've got a planning section which is just another diagram one, having ideas, and I just write and draw diagrams, circles and things. And then I've got just a plastic sleeve in case I need to use that for storage, and it's quite thin and quite strong plastic. And then of course the very last divider which I actually made from one of those document wallets in a previous video, the ones that remove quite easily. And that's the end of that. And then at the very end, just an extra notepad, which when I do write things on here, then I can remove it from the top and place it into the section I need to. Now I have kept this section as in the way that the planner came with this booklet at the back, because I find that the back is quite sturdy, and when I'm writing notes, then I've actually got, being right-handed, I've actually got quite a good lot of room there to write, so if I'm journaling or something like that. So this is really a work area. And then that's it. Oops, camera's wobbling. I leave my pen in there, and I also always, when I'm finished, clicking the pen on and off, making sure that the ink doesn't dry out. It just keeps the pens longer. So that is my Filofax update. So hopefully you've learned a little bit more about what I do with my Filofax. I will publish another video a little bit way down the track when I have made some other changes, but it really does work for me. So if you're still thinking about getting a Filofax or a day planner, please take it from me. It will change your life. It helps me to be organized. It doesn't work miracles, but it gets me to where I need to go much quicker. So thanks for watching, and this is Kent from Oz saying stay tuned for another Filofax tip.